In this presentation, we look at the general ledger master data. Back in the old days, before any computers, all the financial transactions were stored in a big heavy book, which was called the general ledger. All the entries were posted in this book. It was later consolidated into a balance sheet and a P&L statement. Now going forward in SAP, we will be using the same terminologies, the general ledger and journal entries. So in SAP, the general ledger is used to store the financial transaction of an organization. And all the entries here are called journal entries. Now, all the general ledgers have been organized into a structured chart of accounts. Just like the name, chart of accounts, it's just a listing of all the general ledger accounts and their description. As you can see on this image, you can have the general ledger, you can give it a code and a description is given. A code is given so it's easily identifiable among users rather than mentioning the description. For example, the petty cash code is 101000. For bank, it's 102000 and so on. So let's once again look at the terminologies. The general ledger is used to store the financial transactions of an organization, and the chart of accounts is a listing of all the accounts used in the general ledger along with their description. Now let's look at structuring the chart of accounts. In SAP, the chart of accounts can be identified with a maximum of 4-character code. In this example, I have given it as YCOA. Then you need to structure the chart of accounts into different account groups. Now it's up to you how you want to have how many account groups. But in this example, I have used just the 5 account groups, which is the 3 from the balance sheet, assets, liabilities, equities, and 2 from the P&L statement, that is the revenue and expenses. The account groups in SAP has to have 4 characters. For assets, I have used 4 characters as ASST, liabilities LIAB, and so on. Now for each account group, you have to give a number range. This number range controls the GL account code. Now, in this example, for assets, I have given a number range from 100000 to 199999. So then all the asset accounts I'll be creating has to fall under this number range. In this example, you can see I have given the petty cash code of 101000, for bank 102000, accounts receivable 103000, and so on. Similarly, for liabilities, I have given the account group LIAB with a number range of 200000 to 299999. And I can create a liability account starting with the 2. So the account groups control the number range. So number range controls what GL account can be created within this range. Now the maximum characters you can use in number range is 10. For if you are a small organization and you do not have many GL accounts, you can just use 4 digits. I prefer to use a 6-digit format for a medium organization, medium to large, because it's not too long to remember 10 digits and not too short, which might not be flexible in the future. Now let's look at the assignment of the chart of accounts. Now if you can assign one company code to one chart of accounts, so in this example, I have a company in New Zealand and I have assigned to my New Zealand operational chart of accounts. That is my X scenario. Over here I put as X. Then if you have multiple companies in your country, so here I have given an example, I have 1 company, I have 2 companies, I have 3 companies in Australia, then I can assign all these companies into one chart of accounts, that is my AU00. Sometimes you create chart of accounts based on your country's requirements, so you might, for each country, you might have your own chart of accounts. So you can assign one company code to one chart of accounts, or you can assign many company codes to one chart of accounts. That is my Y scenario over here. Then, especially if you are a multinational company, you might have a group chart of accounts. And this group chart of accounts you might report in a different currency. For example, the Australian chart of accounts will report in Australian dollars, the New Zealand chart of accounts will report in New Zealand dollars, and let's say your group chart of accounts, your group company or your head office is in the US, and you might want to report in US dollars. So you might create a group chart of accounts, and that might be reporting in US dollars, and you can assign all these operational chart of accounts to one group chart of accounts. This is the most common structure followed in a multinational company. In the next few minutes, we'll look at creating the GL accounts in SAP. You can either create it at a chart of account level using the transaction code FSP0, or you can create it at the company code level using the transaction code FSS0. But first it has to be created at the chart of accounts level before you can move it on to the company code level using FSS0. But the most common approach is using the transaction code FS00, where it creates at the same time chart of account level and the company code level. We will look at all these three scenarios in the upcoming presentation. Now I'll use the transaction code FSP0. You can also find this in your SAP menu path: accounting, financial accounting, general ledger, master records, GL accounts, individual processing, and here you can see you can create centrally, that is FS00, which is both common to chart of accounts and company code. You can just create at the chart of accounts level, then after that you can expand to the company code level. We'll first look at the FSP0 scenario. You can just double click here, or you can just type in FSP0 in the transaction menu as well. So I'm just going to execute this transaction. So you come to the transaction over here, and you need to specify a GL account number. Now I'm going to create a balance sheet account for a bank account. So I'm just going to specify a number over here. I've already put in 114300. Specify your chart of accounts. Now here you can use INT, that's a standard setting given by SAP, or if you're using your own chart of account, you can specify your own chart of accounts as well. Then click on this icon to create a new chart of account. Now because it's going to be a balance sheet account and a bank account, I'm just going to choose one of these liquid funds account. Ensure it's a balance sheet account, so make sure you tick this and give it a short text over here. So I'm just going to call it bank account, simple for that. And you can put a long text also over here. Here you can put about maximum 20 characters, and you can put about 50 characters over here. And then just go on to the next tab over here. If you want to put in different languages, you can specify the languages and put in a different language here. But for now, we can just leave it in English, and then just save the transaction by clicking on this button. And you'll get a message saying data saved. Now let's look at creating at the company code level. We'll use transaction code FSS0. So let's execute this transaction. Now you must have it select already created in the chart of accounts level, then only you can extend it to the company code level. So I'll give the same GL account over here, my bank account, specify my company code, and then click on this icon again to create. And that brings in all the information. My company code currency is in euros, so it's in EUR over here. And you can give more information. For example, if it's a bank account, you can specify whether do you want to have it at line item display, so you can individually see all the line item transactions. There is something called a sort key. This is where the assignment field gets populated with whatever sort key you specify. Now I have put here 001. That means there's a posting date will automatically be coming up in the assignment field when you do the document postings. You can put in other assignment numbers as well. Then you can go on to the next tab over here, create bank interest. Then you need to put a field status group. You can select something from the system. For example, do you want to choose just a general account, a bank account, material account? All this information you can put. Now because I'm creating a bank account, I'll just choose this field status group G005 bank accounts. Or if you just want to keep it general, you can just specify the general account. And that's it. Save the transaction. And you'll get a message saying data is saved. Now sometimes a bank account might require the relevant to cash flow indicator ticked, then you need to tick that account, and you can even specify your bank details inside this house bank and account ID information. That's a bit too advanced for the moment, we'll just leave that and just specify your field status group, relevant to cash flow if it's a bank account. If not, you do not have to specify. If you specify the field status group G001, then this will not be required, and you can save the transaction. Now let's look at the transaction code FS00, where you create the GL account centrally. So you create at the same time at the chart of account level and at the company code level, and this is the most commonly used transaction to create GL accounts, FS00. So let me execute the transaction, and here again, if you try to create the same GL account by giving a same number, if you try to create a different GL account by giving the same number and you click on this icon, then you will get a message saying account has already been created in company code 1000. So you need to give a different account number. But if you simply want to display this account, you can click on this icon, the spectacles icon, display, and that will give all the information for this account which we have created earlier. And if you want to do any changes to this account, just select this icon to change. So this is display, this is to create, this is to change, and this is to create. So I'm just going to change some information in this account, so you can just click on this, and for example I go to the control data tab and I'll say only balances in local currency. So what this means is that I might have foreign transactions using this bank account, however the overall balances will only show in euros, EUR currency, but you can see the line item in different foreign currencies as well. And then save the transaction, and you get a message saying data saved. So that's how you can display and change the GL account. Now let me create another second bank account, but this time I'll show you a shortcut how we can do this. So I need to specify GL account number, so I'm going to specify, let's say 114310. Then I can just click on this icon which says create with template, and I can type the previous account which I want to copy it from, or any account which I want to copy it from, and from which company code I want to copy it from. I want to copy it from the same company code what I have created earlier. Then press OK to continue, and you can see all the information which you set up earlier is coming here automatically because you're just copying from that account. But you must make sure that you go and change the short text, otherwise both the accounts will have the same name. Here I'm just going to call it bank account 2. It's going to call this bank account 2 and save the transaction. So this is useful when you want to create multiple accounts which has got the similar properties. Then just by clicking on this icon, create with template. Now let's imagine a scenario where you do not want any postings for this account anymore. For example, you have closed this bank account and you do not want any users to do any postings. So you want to prevent any users from posting to this particular account, which means you want to actually lock this account. Then what you need to do is to come to this icon over here, which you can see the lock sign. Click on that, and then you come onto this menu which is asking you, do you want to block in chart of accounts? Yes. Block for creation, block for posting, block for planning, and in the company code level also I want to block it from any postings. Then save the transaction, and then this account will be blocked from any postings in future. You can always go back and unlock it as well. Go here again and take off these ticks, and then it will be unblocked. Now imagine a scenario where you have accidentally created one GL account, or you have incorrectly created one GL account with some wrong information and you want to immediately delete it. Well, then you can use this icon, the trash icon, which says mark for deletion. Now to do this, you must not have any financial postings to this GL account. Hence, it's always recommended not to delete any accounts unless you have incorrectly created that account. So I'm just going to show you how to delete this particular GL account. Just select this icon, mark for deletion, and just click on both these marks, deletion flag for chart of accounts level and at company code level, and save the transaction. Then this will be set for deletion. Now you can also do all these transactions by going into the main menu as well. Just click on the GL account, and here you can see create, change, create with reference, that is the one over here, display, that is this icon over here, block, that is this icon over here, and set deletion flag. So you can see all this in the main menu as well, or if you just simply want to click on these icons, you can do this as well. Now if you would like to see the history of this GL account master data, you can go on to the information tab over here. This will give you all the history of this account. You can see when it was created, who it was created by, and if you click on the change documents over here, it will give you all the history. It was blocked for creation, then it was blocked for planning, it was blocked for posting, then it was marked for deletion. All the history of this GL account, you can see it by clicking on that icon. And if you simply double click on one of these sections over here, it will show you on which date it was set up. For example, this was blocked for creation, so it was done on this particular date. And you can just simply come back to the main menu by clicking on this back icon. Now let's create another account. I'm using FS00 again. This time I'll create a domestic customers reconciliation account. This is your general ledger, and in your sub ledgers you can have accounts payable, accounts receivable, asset accounting. So I'm going to create a domestic customers general ledger account. I'm specifying the GL account number over here, company code, click on this icon, account group. I'm going to select reconciliation account ready for input. It's a balance sheet account. Here I'm just going to type in domestic customers, copy that, paste it here, go to control data, specify it as euro currency, that's fine. And here reconciliation account, for account type I'm going to specify customers. You only need to specify this for reconciliation accounts. Then go out to create bank interest. I'm just going to select a field status group G001 and save the transaction, and data is saved. Now let's look at creating a PLL account. I'll use FS00 again. Just going to give it a GL account number over here, 560010, specify my company code and click on this icon over here. Account group, I'm going to select the PLL accounts over here, and then it's a PLL account, so it's automatically selected. Then you must specify the PLL statement account type. Now this icon might come in different environments. In this environment it's coming and it's asking you to select something. Some SAP systems you will not see these settings. If you just have one PLL statement account type, then you will not need this. Now here I might have multiple statement account types configured, so I'm just going to select one over here, X, and then just going to write a short text. I'll just call this as stationery expense. Copy this, go to control data tab, and just going to specify line item display, sort key, I'll just put in 001. Now here you can see we have something called a tax category. You can specify this for some revenue and expense accounts. Tax category, I can select whether all type of taxes allowed, input tax only or output tax only, or only input tax and output tax. Different type of settings we can do, where they can be only 10% tax or 0% tax and so on. For now I'll just put everything as all tax types allowed. Then go to the next screen, specify a field status group. Here again I can choose the G001, or if it's an expense account I can even choose G004. I'll just choose G001 for now and save the transaction. Now for your assignment, create a GL account at chart of accounts level. Use the transaction code FSP0. Then practice creating a GL account at company code level FSS0. You must first create a chart of accounts level, then you can extend at the company code level. Just create one of each for practice. Then create many different GL accounts using the transaction code FS00 as we saw in our earlier examples. Create one for balance sheet account, one for expense account, create a reconciliation account. You can even try creating other accounts like a revenue account, an asset account, a vendor reconciliation account, and so on. So be very familiar with this transaction code FS00 and which icons to use for which purposes.